My name's Matthew, I'm James' brother. I've been asked tonight to MC this evening. I'd like to start with a story. I was talking to Father Laurie today, and I was trying to think of something eloquent to say about Dylan tonight, to sort of show how much we sort of love and appreciate her. He basically said that any woman who can walk back into our house repeatedly after 7 years probably deserves a medal. He said that God only sent Jesus to the desert for 40 days, so Dell's done 7 years, so I think it's fair to say she's one of us. Just a few housekeeping things. At the back table just behind over there, there is a wishing well, there's a guest book, and there's a message in a bottle that you can open in 1 year. So if you'd like to leave something nice, go right ahead. But let's get into the bridal party. That didn't sound good, did it? Start that again. First we'll have Nick and Liv. Next we have Steve and Amy. Matthew and Vanessa. Lyndon and Rachel. And for the first time, mate, give a very warm welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Pride. Now, if I could ask everybody to stay seated, entrees will be served right now. Attention, please. If I could ask everybody to be seated, we're going to hear from the two fathers now. First come up the rank is Stephen Tan Pride. You'll have to ask Ro Burgess about the nature of that nickname. He still won't tell us 30 years later. One of Dad's unique abilities is being able to get a point across in a very short and concise manner. I remember when Steve and I first started going out and drinking whatever, and you go to school and they teach you about going through puberty and changes and things that will be happening, and you sit there for an hour and you have no idea what they're talking about. And I remember the first time I went out, Dad said, "Listen, mate, when you go out and you meet a nice girl," he goes, "just remember, the 20 seconds of glory isn't worth the 20 years of pain." Anyway, I'd now like to call on the Tan Man to speak.
Okay. On behalf of James and the Pride family, I'd like to welcome everyone here today to Delma and James's wedding celebration, and hope you can all share in the fun and excitement. Now, special mention must go to Corshed and Farley's family and friends who've travelled far and wide to share in this celebration. In particular, Farad, Parenka and the beautiful baby Tara from Dubai. And where are they? The Real Madrid connection. Where are they? Oh, there. Yeah. Rami, Anna, the beautiful Miriam and Dario. Now, Corshed, the charming lady, as we know, now she impressed upon me. I must mention her old drinking buddy from school, Gulna. Where's Gulna? Now, Corshed, were you still drinking scotch in those days? Always, that's good. Now, now the next one, we must not forget Aban. That's Farley's sister from Bombay. And Chelsea and Rosie. Now, Aban, you're very, very important because you can give us all some tips, especially James, on how to keep your brother Farley in line. As we all know, he's prone to getting overexcited at times. And last but not least, James is very lucky to have his two grandmothers, the two matriarchs, Mari and Yvonne. Age shall not weary them. Now, enough of the frivolity, we're a bit serious now. Now, I would sincerely like to thank Corshed and Farley for producing and raising such a wonderful young lady as Delma. Formerly Delma Poacher, and now proudly Mrs. Delma Pride. James's wife and our daughter-in-law. And one also has to thank Corshed and Farley for not only today, but also for that wonderful experience that some of us were allowed to share at Hammond Grove on Wednesday. Now, our family thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was culturally enlightening and enriching, and the experience was one never to forget. So thank you. Now, James and Del have been going out for 7.5 years. When Kim and myself have been going out for 7.5 years, we were married, we had 5 kids, and we lived and worked overseas for 12 months. My children tell me all the time about Gen Y and they're different. So I guess this must be what it is. Now, marriage is not only very special and something to be valued and savoured, but it's damn hard work, as I'm finding out today. Now, at school, one learns about belonging, cultural roots, and identity. But marriage brings change. Walker, you take notes. And to have an enduring, happy and successful marriage, a couple must embrace the following 4 ideals: tolerance, acceptance, forgiveness, and lastly, but not least, resilience. This is very serious, not fun. Now, Delma, you must possess these qualities Because for 7.5 years you've waited patiently for James, showing immense tolerance and showing immense acceptance of James and his family and his friends, and including myself. But fortunately, Delna possesses Corshed's beauty, Corshed's intellect, and Corshed's organisational skills. And Delna, like her father, she's always calm in a crisis, and has an excellent sense of direction and expert navigational skills, because this is something that James does not have. Now, I have 6 sons, as you're aware, and James is number 3. And I'm very proud of all my sons. But James is by far the most easygoing of the 6 boys. As a baby, James toured Europe for the first 12 months of his life with his parents and older brothers Steve and Matt, along with their friends Peter and Corinne, and their 2 girls. We travelled through country after country, sleeping in different beds, different hotels, etc. every night. Now, James was then, and still is, very calm, very relaxed, extremely tolerant and accepting, and is one of the most resilient people I know. Now, James, Mum and myself are very proud of you as a person and son, and wish you and Delna all the happiness for the future. And remember, marriage is not always easy. It's a lot of hard work. But to have a successful and enduring marriage, be tolerant, be accepting, and always be ready to forgive.
Thanks very much, Chan. That was lovely. This is serious. Next up, we have the father and bride, Farley, and I think to everyone it was clearly obvious how happy he was. That smile when he was walking down the aisle. Farley, I didn't know you had so many teeth.
Well, what can I say after that tremendous speech which Stephen made? He stole part of my thunder. But a wedding is a festive occasion. And what makes it so special? Apart from Father Rowley, of course, who put us all at ease with that wonderful service in the church earlier today. To my way of thinking, what makes a wedding so very special is the presence and participation of each and every one of you, good friends, family, who get together and join us in celebrating the nuptials of Delna and James. And we are extremely grateful to all of you for coming here tonight and making it such a splendid evening. Of course, we've been blessed with exceptionally good weather. And looking at the beautiful expanse of Sydney Harbour behind me, it is a magical setting. Added to that are some of our overseas guests who I would like to specially mention and thank, because thank them for having traveled extensively to come and be with us tonight. Apart from my sister Aman, Kersi and Delzine, which Stephen has already mentioned, we have a very close and good friends, Manjula and Pradeep Bhatia, coupled with Gula and Palisa Kade. Now, Stephen mentioned something about Khorshid and her fondness for drinking scotch. It might interest you to know that the scotch drinking originated actually from Fali Sarkari and Pradeep Bhatia, both of whom are renowned experts in that direction. Gunnar, Manjula and Khorshid were very close friends in school and have been together since and are almost now like sisters. From Dubai we have a son, Farhad, his lovely wife Priyanka, and a beautiful, gorgeous granddaughter, Tara, who I think you will hear from time to time, playing in the background. From Madrid, we've already heard about Rami, Anna Marie Gomes, Dario, and Miriam. And from the UK, we have Nicholas Hopkins, Mike and Phil Keenan, Paul Keenan, Tom Ensko, and Sophie and Paddy. And our special thanks to them for traveling this very long distance. Khorshid and I also would like to take this opportunity to express a deep appreciation and gratitude to Kim and Stephen for their understanding, patience, tolerance and ready cooperation at all times. For today has been a joint effort on the part of both the families. And we very much look forward to the relationship between the two families blossoming into a very warm and abiding one. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one more person that I have to thank above all else. For the past 35 years, she has warmed the hearth of our home, nurtured, protected, and brought up our children, and made our home a happy and comfortable abode. She is the one person most responsible for the fine children that we have been blessed with. My dearest Khorshid, on behalf of Farhad, Priyanka, Tara, Delna, James and myself, I would like to place on record our deep and abiding appreciation for everything you have done for us and express our heartfelt gratitude. And now, to the bridal couple. Doesn't she make an absolutely radiant and stunning bride? And what about that equally dashing and handsome groom? Jamshedji, welcome to the Pocha family. Although I must warn you, Delna has often referred to us as the dysfunctional Homer Simpson family. So some of you may be wondering, how did this all come about? Well, let me try and enlighten you. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, on the 14th of November, a very pregnant mother-to-be suddenly woke up at dawn, shot out of bed, yelling, "Quick, quick, it is coming, take me to the hospital, quick." A mad dash ensued to the St. Elizabeth Maternity Hospital. And before the doctor who was shampooing her hair in the hospital premises could even reach the delivery room, a baby girl was born. That that trait of impatience has been the defining hallmark of that baby girl ever since. As Portia and I think back over the years, since that day, a million memories surface. And I will, in the interest of brevity, list just a few of them at random. As a baby, Delna never ever cried. There was a well-remembered incident when only a few months old, she fell out of a high bed onto a tile floor with an almighty, awful thud. Kaushal and my sister Raman, who were at the other end of the flat, rushed in, fearing the worst, initially scared out of their wits, only to burst out laughing when they saw the baby spread eagle on the floor. They were met with a fierce glare of disapproval, but not a whimper from Delna. I might also add that ever since that time, she has more than made up for it. Because now the water will start flowing on the slightest pretext. Another thing, Delna never spoke till she was almost 3 years old. So much so that Kaushal and I were getting rather worried. Then one fine day, she was going in the bus with Kaushal. When passing a McDonald's, she suddenly piped up, "Donald's, Donald's." And she has never stopped since. When she was a tiny little girl, she would be propped up in a supermarket trolley, and she was prone to pulling things off the shelf when nobody else was looking. When we arrived at the checkout counter, finding things in the trolley which we had not ourselves taken, and wondered aloud as to how they had got there, Delna would suddenly start sucking her thumb furiously, which was always a dead giveaway. And her thumb was perpetually in her mouth with a tiny little pillow tucked beneath her armpit. That little pillow stayed with her for very many years until it finally disintegrated. When she started play school, Madam would go outside each morning, pull her pajamas down to feel the air on her legs to determine whether it was a hot day or a cold day, and then decide whether to put on tights and clothes for that day. And weekends were a special treat. Father and daughter were toddled off to a patisserie, and the delight for me was to watch the expression on her face as she looked at the colorful display of cakes and pastries in the shop. Her eyes would light up, her tongue licking her lips, her nose pressed tight against the glass of the counter, trying to decide which one to have, when the ladies in the shop who knew her well by then would take pity and give her extras. Some weekends we would go on long drives, and Delna's favorite game was to play I Spy. When it was her turn, and if anyone, especially her brother Farhad, had guessed correctly, Madam would pronounce, "Not telling," and claim another go, much to Farhad's annoyance and frustration. And of course, all major strategic decisions in her life were extensively debated, the pros and cons carefully weighed, and finally a scientific, logical decision arrived at by the time-tested method of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the technique that she used to decide when James proposed to her. forever. Delna, you were an absolute delight as a child, and your mother and I are immensely proud of the fine human being you have blossomed into. We wish you and Jamshedji every happiness. May you both have a long and joyful life together, filled with good health, prosperity, and the patter of tiny feet. Della and James, you both have many fine qualities, and of these I will single out two, which I earnestly commend to you both: truth and compassion. Be true to your own selves. Be true to each other, and be true to the world around you. Continue to lead a life filled with tolerance, understanding, and patience. Practice that charity of heart and mind and spirit, which, like its sister Mercy, has the approbation of heaven and earth, and blesses him who gives as him who receives. The last cord binding you to us has been set free, and we bid you Godspeed, happiness, health, and prosperity on your onward journey. May you both find contentment and joy in each other aplenty, and may your road in life be illuminated and your steps guided in the paths of happiness.
Thanks, Polly. That was rather enlightening, wasn't it, Del? I actually take back what I said. The reason you were coming over for 7 years is so you could eat the cakes and chocolates, wasn't it? Alright, take note. Everyone, feel free to move around. Dinner won't be served until late, so enjoy yourselves. Attention, please. I'm going to ask everybody to take a seat, please. For those of you who are interested, and I know DT, Eels and Johnny are very interested, the score in the Rabbitohs-Roosters game is 12-6 to the Roosters after 25 minutes for those of you who want to. Next up we have Nick. Before he gets up, I'd just like to give a little introduction for those of you who don't know him. Whenever a girl looks at our family photo, she always says two things. The first thing is, your poor mother. And the second thing they say is, who's that? He's pretty cute. And then the questions start. They say, why does he not look like anyone else? Or people from Dubbo always say, why does he look like the milkman that used to do the run 25 years ago? But I want to start with a story with Nick, and this probably sums him up pretty well. We're back home in Dubbo, and I could hear this awful noise coming from his room, and I thought someone was being murdered or something, so I went in and checked it out, and he was actually singing the Backstreet Boys Quit Playing Games for my heart. And I knew then that my job as an older brother had failed miserably. And then I said to him, I was curious, I said, why are you going to make it as a pop star? And he said, because I look like Tarzan and sing like Jane. But just be nice to him. He's a little bit nervous tonight. He's been sweating over this speech, but I don't care what people say, Nick. The birth certificate says you're my brother, so come up and speak, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. For those that were at Steve's wedding, there's no doubt that I deserve that. I shared some details about Matt that perhaps were a little forthright, but well played, you got me. Growing up as one of 6 boys, often the way in which we show affection to one another is to tell really embarrassing stories. Clearly tonight's no different. But it also seems fitting that I start with a tale about our newlyweds and how they met. So James and Del have come a long way from what's fair to say were humble beginnings. Meeting in Balmain with Dougie and Ness as their wingman playing vital roles. James was initially known to Del as the Green Tea due to the shirt he was wearing that night, and for the first few weeks James thought Delna's name was in fact Melna. I don't know whether it was the dodgy acoustics or whether it was just James's lovable vagueness, but who would have known at the time it would all end up here. Indeed, one of their first dates, James had decided he would try to sweep Del off her feet by cooking one of his finest dishes. However, there was one major issue with this plan. James couldn't cook. Unbeknown to Del, our older brother Steve secretly stepped up to the plate and not only cooked a dish that won Del's heart, but Steve also managed to escape the house before Delna arrived to allow James to take the credit for the meal. But we all knew that James and Del were the real deal when they first faced one of the biggest tests any relationship can endure: ordering Chinese. Not just any Chinese, but Chinese from the Grand View, or as it's now known, the Grand Spew. Whilst Del is busy studying the menu and writing a pros and cons list, because she can't decide between the sweet and sour pork and the sauteed chicken, both of which are outstanding dishes. James is so laid back that he'll often end up just letting Del pick both dishes and take whatever's left over. But in many ways, these are examples of why they're such a great couple. Del's attention to detail and prudent judgment is complemented by Jimmy's ability to just roll with the punches and remain calm no matter how frantic the situation. As a couple, you are certainly the comic relief of our family. I mean that in a nice way. But far more than this, and I mean this sincerely, you personified that commitment to each other and family comes first. That life and everyone in it doesn't need to be taken all that seriously. And that despite humble beginnings, relationships work when you celebrate each other's strengths and tolerate imperfections. And how about our bridesmaids? Let's have a cheer for them. Amy, Liv, Ness and Rach, you have all recently become, or soon to become, mothers. And aren't they gorgeous tonight? Any girls who can make us groomsmen look half decent, all the while juggling children, are nothing short of super in my book. You look truly wonderful tonight and befitting of the beautiful bride. Del, I won't steal James's thunder, and you don't need me to tell you this, but you look gorgeous tonight. As a brother to James, we want him to find a girl that makes him truly happy, and you absolutely do this. It's an added bonus that as James's brother, he's found a girl that we can now call our sister. Del, your ability to make us laugh and continually find the patience, despite being the target of our endless banter, is one of the many reasons why we are so excited to officially welcome you to the Pride family. Since you've been with James, we've had some really good times and we've had some really tough times. But what hasn't changed is your commitment and support to James and our family as a whole. Jimmy and Del are not the people they are today by chance. They've been brought up and supported by wonderful parents. Farley, Corshed, and my parents, Kim and Steve, you are the foundation of everything that is great about our newlyweds. Your unwavering love to James and Del and endless sacrifice has resulted in two individuals that together make a great couple. As demonstrated today, James and Del are surrounded by support, and some of that support's come from far and wide, and it's been mentioned tonight. Some from England, some from the subcontinent, some from all around the world, but I think it's a testament to the couple they are. But more than those here today, sadly there are some no longer with us. Noel Pride, Alan, Paul and Philip are Orford, and from Del Nasson, and forgive me if the pronunciation's unexact, but Sabak, Korshed, Jengir, Rashan and Erash. They are all sadly missed. But we take comfort that the best from them in some way carries on through those of us left behind. I'm sure they would have loved a night like tonight. James. It's an honour to be asked to be anyone's best man. But more than this, you're the best guy I know. So the real honour has been asked to be your best man. You're my big brother, I love you dearly, and it means the world to me to see you so happy. I wish you both every happiness, and remember, we're always here. On behalf of us all, and we might raise a glass to James and Del. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nick. Next up to speak is James. Before he gets up, just like to talk about the week he's had. It's been pretty big, obviously today, Wednesday. The most important day of the week was Monday. We had a touch football game between the over 25s and the under 25s, and I just wanted to make a special mention to those who came from England to participate in the event. To Tom Ainscough, your tenacity and determination was only outdone by your lack of acceleration. To Paul Keenan, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for not turning up. You were instrumental in our victory. And lastly to Hoppo, you actually played pretty well, I've got nothing to say. Not being married makes it a bit hard for me to give advice, so I worked the room a little bit and asked a few of the married men what they thought, and Jim Mackey actually came up with a cracker. I spoke to him earlier and he said, mate, there's 5 things. He goes, it's important to have a woman who can cook and clean. It's important to have a woman who can make you laugh. It's important to have a woman who doesn't lie and you can trust. I had to edit the 4th one, sorry. It's important to have a woman who likes to have fun. And lastly, it's very important that these 4 women never meet one another. So without further ado, I'd like to call up James.
Thanks, Max. In typical style, this speech is completely disorganised. About a million different sheets of paper. So I just wanted to use tonight to thank a fair few people because Del and I have had a lot of support over the last couple of years, travelling and obviously setting up for this week. It's been a massive week and it's been a really enjoyable week. So bear with me. Firstly, Folly and Corshed for Wednesday, for organising Wednesday. Wednesday was awesome. My family had a great time. The boys were pretty sharp in all their whites. And I also wanted to thank KFC, Arban, Delzin, Gulnar, Fala for setting up, and including my family and everything. So yeah, thank you very much. To Laurie, Father Laurie, he gets upset when I call him Father Laurie, for today, mate. Today was really good. We went and saw we saw Laurie in Cowra a couple of months ago to sort of set everything up and explain what we had in mind, doing a Parsi ceremony and a Catholic ceremony, and Laurie was dead keen to get everyone involved. I think we'll all agree that today was a pretty nice touch when we got everyone to sort of cross the aisle and say hello to everyone. But yeah, thanks Laurie for putting up with the Pride household in a useless room. The next mention I want to give is to Fran and Lucy. Fran and Lucy are friends from work and they volunteered their duties to do the cake and the flowers for the whole day. They weren't even asked, they just came running to us and said, "Can we please?" And we're stoked that you did it. So thanks. To the English boys, to Tommy, who's been on the camera since about Monday, roughly, and to Keno and Hoppo. I promised Del when all the preparation was going for the last couple of months. I said, "Oh yeah, just leave all the jobs for me when the week before I'll get it all done." So thank you boys for doing all my jobs. We've got a fair bit done this week, so many hands make light work, so thank you very much. I also wanted to thank all the people. So myself and Del spent 2 years overseas and had a cracking time, but obviously we had to stay at a fair few places along the way. First of all, it was Farad and Pringles having us in Dubai and in Mumbai with Arban, Kersi and Delzeen. I think they got me through a pretty tough time at Delhi Belly. For all those Gatorades, I'm very grateful. That was a dark time for me. To Rami, Anna, and Miriam and Dara for having us in Madrid and showing us an awesome time in Menorca. That was pretty awesome. So thank you very much, and we're stoked that you could be here for this week. And we're sorry that you're going tomorrow, but if I don't see you before tomorrow morning, which I probably won't, if I won't have to speak, I'll thank you very much. To Mike and Phil Keenan. They were pretty much our family in the UK, and they were awesome. I'd also like to apologise to Mike. I did promise him I'd plan this wedding during an Ashes series or a British Lions tour, but sorry mate, my disorganisation has shone through again. And yeah, so I'd just like to thank Foley and Corshed on my behalf for welcoming me to the family. From pretty much the word go, I felt very, very comfortable amongst the family, amongst the extended family. And again, thank you very much for this week. It's been very special for me and Del. to my mother and father. Thank you again for the kind words, Dad. For the patience, the love, and for giving me five overly competitive brothers. I've had the same conversation a million times, and Matt's already mentioned it tonight. When you mention to someone that you have 5 brothers, the first thing the person says is, "Oh, you're poor mother." But we know you've loved every minute of it, Mum and Dad. For all the smashed windows, the broken bones, the odd socks, the missed buses, the hangovers, the inappropriate dinner conversations, the ruined family photos and brawls. Could have been worse if you had 6 girls. But yeah, thanks again, Mum and Dad, for again today making it so inclusive for everyone. It's been a special day. To my 5 overly competitive brothers. By overly competitive, I mean we have a trophy at home that's dedicated to the best brother. So basically, there's 6 events. And we compete every year because we're desperate to know that who the best brother is. I'm currently the trophy holder. And we're due to play soon, but I thought we'd just leave it until the end of the wedding. And I mean, apart from convincing Dylan to marry me, that's one of my greatest achievements, I think. But thanks for motivating me to be better, because there's no the fear of losing to you guys is greater than anything in the world. Finally, to my beautiful wife. Thank you for everything you've done for this week, for the blood, sweat, and the many tears you've poured into the wedding while struggling work, uni, and a fiance that couldn't organise a pie fight. I consider myself to be a fairly relaxed person most of the time, barring the 15 minutes of today. That's because I know I have everything I need. I'm not particularly fussed about where I live, where I work, or which TV I watch the nights on. As long as I'm hanging with you. You look absolutely beautiful today, and I just wanted to say thank you.